Go. Tonight's second place finisher. Plenty of fans here, Brett, and a solid second place finish.
Yeah, I got to shout out the Turn 2 Terror Boys over there. They're all a bunch of good guys to hang out with, talk to. I really like them.
How are you doing tonight, man?
Hey, I'm talking here. You know who you're talking to? Macho Man! I'm on my way to Monday Night Raw.
The second one.
Your choice.
It's a trap.
I feel like it is. I feel like he's setting up fights in the front stretch. Is what he's trying to do.
Speedway. We've got Devin Gordon with us
at Keen Motorsports Shop here with Kyle Keen.
Sitting here with Sean Keen. We're going to talk a little bit about racing history.
Yep.
Welcome in, everybody. The Turn 2 Terribles podcast. It is Tuesday, October 24th. I'm here with Jeremy Zarfas and our good buddy, Brett Perigo. We're going to do a little BAPS recap from this past Saturday. It was 410 sprint cars, Wingless sportsmen, and a 50-lap xtreme stock race that turned into a marathon. How you guys doing?
Just happy to be here, man. How's it going, Brett?
Going pretty great.
Pretty great.
Good.
So back to Saturday, supposed to be a 3 o'clock start. We get delayed from rain, right? I'll get there at 1:30. I don't know what time you guys got there. I was in the pits with Brett for felt like forever, waiting for him to get the track worked in. I don't know if it's like that for you guys, but about an hour delay with the rain between the drivers' meeting and getting the track worked in. And then we had a medical emergency that delayed it to almost 4:15. So already off to a great start. Kind of seems to be our luck this year, Jeremy, to be at marathon days. Troy Wagaman Jr. gets his first win at BAPS, I believe, in the Hefner car for the 410s. Beats Anthony Macri, who gets penalized post-race 2 spots to give Danny Dietrich a second place finish. That's on the 410 portion of the event there, Jeremy.
You know, it was definitely a slow start getting going, timed hot laps, which usually keep things moving at BAPS, to be honest. Like, I've been in a lot of BAPS shows this year, and those timed hot laps really eliminate a portion of the show if between like a hot lap session, then true hot laps or time trials, and then heats. Those timed hot laps, you know, love them or hate them, it really has made the shows efficient at BAPS, and it was going to. You know, there's a little bitty rain shower that came through before, definitely halted progress of getting things ready, but it did not really add any moisture to the track because it was up on a curb in the heats. It was up to the wall in the heat races for the 410s. We had red flags. We had medical emergencies. We had, you know, I saw a little bit of everything happen, and it just kept going and going and going. I thought the racing, as usual, was really good. Troy could have led from the pole, but
He
was
earned
not.
it.
He did not have an easy go of it throughout that race. He fought off all challengers. there was definitely a period in the middle of that race where he kind of, was in control of the race. But as soon as we got a yellow and the restarts came out, that was like hungry dogs into turn one. So probably got pretty fortunate. Anthony Macri had just slid him in 3 and 4 from third after Reinhardt and Troy kind of were defending, really playing defense. Both of them gave Macri the run, and the red flag came out. Nash Ely biked it in 1 and 2 and went over. Gave Troy the lead back, put Macri back to third, and he kind of fended him off from there. So he did what he had to do. I don't think it was how he would envision it to go or want it to go as a leader, but he took care of the job, got it done. I was entertained. I had a good time watching it for sure.
For sure. I mean, let's not discount. It was a longer time hot laps. 37 410 showed up. Some new faces with Kenny Edkin making his, I believe, first 410 start. A bunch of cars that were new names, new places. Justin Henderson at 69K. The roundabout keeps going. Musical chairs. But Troy was definitely under fire from Kyle Reinhardt for a huge portion of the midsection of that race. They were both kind of checked out, and you could see moves being made through Macri. Billy Dietrich hung tough after some trouble in the heat. So Troy definitely earned it. Those late race restarts when you have Anthony Macri back in the family car. Danny Dietrich charged from 16th. I believe it's a hard charger. Definitely tough. I mean, a little incident there. Reinhardt, Devin Borden was flying until he gets in Kyle Reinhardt and destroys the front of his car.
Well, he didn't destroy the front end of his car until Reese Nowatarski came by and had nowhere to go and ripped the right front off of it. So, I mean, no fault of Reese's for sure because Devin kind of created his mess on his own. But then that tore up Devin's car. But he may have been the fastest car on the track, and he was taking his shot from third on that restart, just like Reinhardt was doing to Troy. But he guessed wrong, made a mistake. Reinhardt got super lucky because he did a 360 with the contact and kept going,
Right.
where Devin ended up back into pit. So,
And I do
Devin
want
got the worst of it for sure.
I do want to say so. 23 team Devin Borden didn't get to finish the race, but I was in the pits in the staging lane with Brett watching Devin Borden and that team bust tail to get that whole front end changed. There was an open red right after that. He was hustling around. I think he did 50% of the work or more himself, holding lights, getting the tools, swapping gears. It was crazy. So props to him for that.
Just for him to get out on the track, and I think they said something on the radio about him going to the infield first, so he wasn't allowed back out.
Right. He made it out. He made it out in time for the restart, well before they even went. Really, right after it went yellow to move again, but he went to his trailer. So fast rule, done for the night.
Well, I know when he came into the infield, then after they DQ'd him, the right front shock was not connected. So there was that too. But that's part of the casualty of war there. Someone walked over and like it was flopping around in there. They were checking.
Considering
it. So I thought he came in because he felt something. Where I was standing, I didn't know he was DQ'd because he went to the pits.
I only heard that because Brett was in his car, had his radio on, and heard him say 23 was parked. But still, hell of an effort. Props to Devin. He just turned 21 on Sunday, so happy birthday to Devin Borden there.
Yeah, I felt like the second half of that feature took forever because I was up in the stands, and typically I watch like halfway to 10 to go, or it all depends on the night. So I left the stands, and I got in my car, and it just caution after caution and open reds. Man, I could like stay up there and watch this whole race.
Yeah, there was what 10 or so to go. Troy had a pretty decent lead, was kind of in control of the race, and the caution came out, and then he just got down to like 5. There was a caution, 3. There was a caution. He had the open red, like, oh man. And at that point, here in the staging lane, the whole Wingless sportsmen were in the staging lane, like, let us go out on the track, please. And at this point, it was what 8 o'clock at night. This thing has gone well on beyond what everyone expected, which you'll have that. It's not a complaint. BAPS, I think they were doing Britton Finkenbinder Memorial. There was a lot of things around that. Throughout the night, which was necessary part of the promotion and part of remembrance. 5th annual. We talked about it in you go back and watch our banquet show. Mental health is important. There's a big national like suicide awareness stuff. So very important stuff happened. Kind of delayed the show a little bit, but that's okay in my opinion. Also, the reason why we have Brett Perigo here, he was racing one of 27 wingless sportsmen. I started getting an affinity for sportsmen and winged and wingless this year after the 100 lapper. It was fun watching them. It was fun being there with Brett. I was in the pits with him all night, following him around like a lost puppy. Have a lot of fun though. So Brett, talk about your night.
Oh, it started out pretty decent in hot laps. The time trials went second quick to Tony Jackson in my group. Although he was a good bit quicker, but I mean, for not racing like over a month and a half, I don't think it was too bad. And haven't been to Susky in over 2 years at that point. So I was pretty happy about that.
Definitely fast. Forget who had quick time over time, but it was different. It was multiple groups. 27 cars was 3 different hot lap groups. I think they broke you guys into 2 as well.
Yeah.
But so they had that. They have a 6 invert, which Brett loved. Makes him start 5th in the heat. Him and Tony Jackson, heat 3, start 5th and 6th. Brett was charged at the front. Tony Jackson's at winning the heat, though. Brett got a little he wanted to get some good picture qualities for Jeremy. I think that's what he was doing.
That's got to be the most cool pick there is, that the slowest car out on the track at the time.
I thought I grabbed it.
I think like 2 or 3 guys drove by me while I'm up there playing in the dust.
Yeah, so you drove up to 4th. Probably looked the fastest car. You passed Tony Jackson, which is hard to do. He's won a lot this year in that division, at BAPS especially. And here's the picture of Brett just letting it eat, man. Some other stuff from Jay-Z. Like, I don't know. I enjoyed it. I think it was fun getting to be around there. Jeremy, I know BAPS is special to you, being your childhood track and such, but what are your thoughts?
I didn't know you grew up around there. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm 20 minutes from BAPS. It's probably would be considered my home closest track by far. So whenever there's a race at BAPS, it's 410s, it's whatever division. I'm excited to go because I can actually get home in a decent hour. Not that I live far away, but when you're used to an hour or more, pretty much everywhere. Kind of like you, Brett. When you go racing, you it's a day. It's a full day event, right?
Yeah,
so
I mean, about the closest tracks, like the closest track that really matters, about 2 hours.
Yeah,
that runs like sprint cars. Yeah.
For BAPS, 20 minutes, 25 minutes is a blessing. I love going, and I was excited to see your division race. I saw them earlier this year at BAPS, and they were knocking the fence down on both ends, and I was like, wow. Like, it was one of the better races I've seen this year, and I didn't expect it out of that division. So I was excited to have them come back, and obviously knowing you and being friends with you, I was excited to see you race there, and how excited you were to be back at BAPS, because I know it's just your favorite place on the planet.
Little known fact,
you rip around there, huh?
Little known fact: Brett has a win at BAPS. All this complaining, and here he's one of the modified there one time.
So it was cool to see you guys out there, and I don't know if Hot Laps told me much from what I saw, and then I saw you try to rip the top in the heat because I know you, and you're like, I'm going to go where they're not, and it didn't work, so that was dumb, but it set you back in the feature. But it was a long race, so I don't know if starting back where you started in this particular race was going to be a big deal. Certainly would have been nicer to start 3rd, 4th, 5th, or 6th even. Yeah, but there was a lot of things that happened in front of you. You had to pass some cars. You did pass some good cars, and it's a long race. So I have to actually ask, did you do anything? Now, okay, so I want to put this in context. You haven't raced as much this summer. You hardly race at BAPS. You try not to. You show up to BAPS on one of the longest races of your season, if it is the longest race of your season. How do you know what to do with the car? Or did you just go, I do what I always do? Or did you have some things in mind to set it up for that longer run than normal?
Well, Chris can kind of like attest to it. How we mostly talk is how to drive instead of how to set it up. Like with being wingless, I mean, you can drive it so many different ways and be fast. You can see guys pitch them sideways, some guys drive them dead straight, and they're the same speed, And just that's the biggest thing. And like I typically like to run myself a lot looser than most other guys. So this is probably honestly the tightest we had the car, the wheel in the farthest, at least my stagger and stuff. And me and my dad and Chris really talked a lot before the feature in the staging lane about how to drive, and said, do this, like go out how you normally do. And if you start sucking, says completely switch it up, because like just try it out. And I hear that Chris was actually getting pretty mad because I was getting backwards early on.
So let's cover this feature quick. So Tony Jackson gets the win, not without an event. He crashes. Was that lap 6?
I think it's lap 1.
Lap 1 gets in a crash with someone on top of the track. A big stack up happens. Tony Jackson got the revenge draw. Everyone loves the fastest car, starting 12th. So we had to do that. Was up to 8th after one lap. Got in a crash. The whole field stacks up. Brett's in the middle of a dust storm with cars wrecking. One car gets upside down. Bob Gutschall, he was okay, luckily. Brett was okay car-wise, luckily. But at this point, he's going in, pitching the car sideways like he's at Kokomo or something. And he just got done in the staging lane, listening to his dad telling him not to twinge the car and keep it straight and do it in the middle and drive down the hill. And he does the exact opposite. I'm like, are you shitting me, Brett? You had one job. And luckily he was a little bit higher because he dodged the crash there. And it went on. It was a 40-lap race, long 40-lap race. Brett finally gets up to 3rd after having a hellacious battle with Steve Wilbur for a while, Trent Yoder, some other guys. Tony Jackson, meanwhile, gets back out on the track, drives from 24th all the way to the lead, wins the race. I think maybe probably his last sportsman race, unless he goes to Path Valley this weekend.
I'm not sure.
He's going up to the 410 division for next season, but it's cool to see Tony Jackson. He was just faster. It was a Billy Bryan 2nd, Brett 3rd. So quality night, 15th to 3rd. That was fun.
You talked about the revenge draw. I kind of screwed myself in that. All I had to do is get the 4th in heat race, which I had if I didn't overdrive it like an idiot and get passed again. My uncle, who made the redraw, he drew the 1, and he said he was going to give it to me. But
you weren't there.
Yeah, I didn't make it, so I had to start 15th. And starting that deep, Jeremy said about, like, you don't know if it hurts you or not, like 40-lap race. The biggest thing it affects you is you don't know the cars around you. When you're back there, like, you got like pretty much kill the first 10, 12 laps, just avoiding the car nose and just getting away from some of the guys that can end your night. And you can see that, like, I almost got caught up in a flip in lap 1.
Right, and there were some other things, and it was tough to pass for you guys. It was probably 2 really good lanes. Like, once you got rolling, you could really drive it in deep on the bottom, pitch it, or you could do what you were doing, kind of entering a little bit higher and driving down. Tony Jackson, being Tony Jackson, just went to the cushion and just passed everybody up until he got close to the front. But I know you, a couple other guys, they would get stuck in the wrong lane on a restart and wouldn't be able to advance very far. It would take a couple laps to get going if he didn't get into the right lane quick enough, because it was just so momentum and having to be perfect and things like that. So I think if you start in the redraw, maybe things go differently for you, but it's more fun that way, wasn't it? You like to pass cars.
In the end, it's more fun because you can say you went 15th to 3rd. But like before the feature, I was sitting there like I had in my head that I wanted to win this one. Just I didn't get a win all year, and I like told people that's just like I'm winning today. Like there's no doubt. Then I sucked in my heat race and 15th in the feature. I'm like, well, we'll see what happens.
And listen, I think that at the end of that race, you were probably the second best car on the track, and you were one of 2 cars to get into the 19-second bracket in that race. You had the speed there, but in those kind of races, it's like it's all got to come together. If you're not the fastest car all night, then things have to go right. And it's right, being fast at the right time. And does a yellow come out with 5 to go versus when it did? Do you have a shot at second because you were running him down visibly lap after lap there?
I finished only a few car licks behind him at the checkered flag too. Like I was like next corner or 2, I was probably gonna get him.
And what was working for you? Because you like his style. He was running middle bottom. You were running middle bottom. Where were you gaining on him?
I don't know. Like just coming off turn 2, I could just get like a big bite and just get a big run down the backstretch. I was just the same in 3 and 4. I don't really know like what was different. Just how you close it up and how you driving.
I think it was exactly that. It looked like coming off 2, you could really just get the power down, keep a momentum that you built entering 1, carry it off 2, get that straightaway speed, and 3, you're ending a little bit higher, and I think carrying more speed into the middle versus I think he was running a little bit lower, and you guys were meeting in the middle, and you were getting that drive down the front stretch back into 1. Tony Jackson was, I think, driving similar, just a little bit even higher yet, and it was sticking even better. And that's how he got to the lead and just set sail. I think he won by almost 3 seconds or something like that. It was crazy for how quick he got away once he did. So, hell of fun to watch. I want to see you race more. It was fun being in the pits. So I told Brett when I got there I was going to go wherever he went, and I wasn't touching anything. That very quickly went away as soon as you get in the race car. Carmen is like, all right, we got to give him a little push in case it doesn't go. Don't get snagged. Don't get run over by Brett, and don't get hit by the car behind you. Car behind him was my buddy Eric Rudd. Somebody he won't run me over, right? Shout out to Eric and Russ Performance and those guys. I hung out with them afterwards. I'm with Brett. Went over and hung out with them for 4 hours, hanging out, just telling stories with him and Scotty. So I had a blast there. Met Tony Sharp. I hope Tony Sharp watches this. I do want to ask Tony Sharp when I see him how Tony Jackson got back on the racetrack. But the lights were out. They were past the opening, lights out. All of a sudden, Tony Jackson's on the track. Lights come back on. I'm like, okay. Nothing against Tony Jackson. He's a nice guy here, but that seems weird. But I don't know all the rules.
It was definitely close to like whatever it was. We were in turn 3 ready to go green.
Right.
But he could have been ready already back in the pits and pushing the car to the lane or something. Just miscommunication.
Tony Sharp, it's your job to watch that gate, buddy. So I want to know what that's about.
Well, based on what I saw in the feature after that, every car got all the laps and time they needed to get back on the track. So they could have pushed it an extra lap short on that one and said, we're going green, and they shouldn't have, because that next feature, there was a caution every 13 seconds, and they gave each of them about 6 laps to come back around.
You're talking about the extreme stock feature that I did not watch any of. I went back, talked with Brett. He was jacked up. I was jacked up. Tech guy came. I'm like, I'm out of here. Ran to the front stretch. Never saw another race car again until I put that car in the box. So extreme stock, you left during it because I think it was NASCAR sanctioned. It was 50 laps, and it never ended.
It still might be going on. It's possible. I don't know for sure. But I left with 5 to go when they had an open red in a street stock race. I couldn't do it no more. I couldn't do it. And I heard then the car that was went into the red flag at third place won. So of course, and it was a buddy of mine. I regret it a little bit, like 1% of my body and being regrets that, but I couldn't do it no more.
There
were times I'm just looking around going, what are we doing? What are we doing?
It was an open red, like you said. It was 10:30 at night. I had no idea what I was doing, but I helped load a car, strap it down, sat down, ate dinner, did everything else, and then realized, wait, they're still racing in there. What the hell is going on? It was.
Did I get home before the race was done?
Well,
I know JC was texting like most of my way home saying it's still going on another red. Like
I don't know what time you got home. I know I left the property at right around 1 o'clock when they turned the lights off.
I think that's about the time we got home, like 12:45,
we
12:50.
Out in the parking lot, and the lights went off, and we knew it was probably time for us to go. So that was fun. But yeah, you weren't far off in beating them home.
Well, I looked at it at one point in Discord. I texted you guys or said something to someone, and I counted it was 5 green flag laps in 20 minutes.
Wow.
That is truly amazing.
On a 50 lap race, guys.
Right.
5 in 20 minutes. Because every day would be a spin out, a flat tire, a spin out, a flat tire, a spin out, and a flat tire. It was just over and over and over again, and I couldn't do it anymore. I was like, I've been here since 1 o'clock.
Right.
It's 10:30 at night.
Right.
These are 2 of the 3 divisions had their longest races of the year. I couldn't. I was like, this is the perfect storm. I'm leaving, and I don't regret it.
Talking about flat tires, I don't know if it was something on track, if it happened in the pits, but as my car was getting teched, I noticed the right rear was going down. So like it could have happened on track, and I could have been ran with the lower tire in the last 2 laps or so.
Right.
But with the way it was going down, it's almost like it had to get a hole in the pits, like a sharp rock caught it or something.
But it was interesting because Craig Perigo, he got super tight towards the end. Did he have any tires going down, or just get tight?
He just got tight.
I know Eric, that tire was beyond used up, and it went flat sitting in his pit. They actually changed it because he had an event tonight with a sponsor event, and he wanted to be able to roll the car out, so they changed tires there to make sure that they had a way for him to get out by himself. So it didn't seem to get rubbered down, but it definitely was probably getting abrasive there. The wind was howling. It got cold, especially in the grandstands. You'll have that in October auto racing, I guess.
There's just some tracks that have more abrasive surfaces than others. Like Bedford's one. Bedford will use up your tire like all night long.
For sure. Any other thoughts on BAPS? I had a great time. Brett had a great time.
It's just
I had a good night. Even though I left early, I had a great night. It was fun watching. It was good racing. I always enjoy it there. Even as a fan in the infield, it doesn't matter. Hugely underrated track in Central PA. I know that Brett's not the biggest fan. He did enjoy himself though. He had a good time, but highly underrated racetrack in Central PA.
I was 100% agree. Next year, I think my weekends will be Friday at Williams Grove, and I will be at probably every sportsman race at BAPS. I'm looking forward to that. So, other quick hit news: High Limit has purchased the All Stars. That is officially announced now. No real information on it yet, so more to come. I think
Least
Jeremy.
shocking announcement of the year.
Right, you'll probably interesting stuff there.
Some
Yeah,
crazy news that no one heard of before. I mean, this is like came out of nowhere.
A lot to unfold there. Still, I think everybody has an idea. You know, it was kind of weird, this whole thing. Everybody knew this was happening, but everybody was also like, well, we don't know.
Maybe not.
All Stars were sending out scheduling for next year before it was announced. Like they were talking to teams and they were conducting business as usual, which they should because they don't just fold up and wait for a sale. They got to conduct business like they're having a season. But I think all along everybody kind of knew this was the deal. I think everybody agreed that the sprint car world can't afford to have 3 major touring series.
Right.
So I think this is the best case scenario in that regard. So we shall see.
For sure. Today, locally, a couple big news things, I think. Tyler Ross and the 75 team split ways. I don't know. I think I saw that coming. You started seeing him run the other car, his own car more and more. I think it is that 5.
The 5.
Yeah.
I mean, the writing was on the wall a little bit there. I don't know what the future holds for the 75 team. I feel like it's always been on the precipice of like, hey, we're done with this, or we're going to go again. You know, they've had different people in and out of it. You know, Tyler Ross decided to walk away. Hopefully, he's built his program up enough that he can still get on track, and he's shown some speed in that 5 car. And listen, don't be surprised if we're going to lead into this, but if he's not fast at Bridgeport this weekend, he likes racing there. He has a lot of experience there. Don't be surprised if you see him make some waves this weekend.
That's one of my favorite looking cars too, but I'm biased to blue cars in general. So
you don't say.
That's 75. Oh, so sharp. Very sharp.
Today, one piece of news from our good friend Kyle Keene. Next year, 410 racing looks like limited basis. 15, 18 races, I think, is what I read. And for full-time Friday night, 358s. So that's exciting. Excited for Kyle. See him on the track more. Big support, one of our big supporters here with Keene Motorsports. So that's exciting. Love seeing that. And you said it earlier, so Bridgeport. Jeremy, you're going to be there with Jimmy doing the pre-race show. You have JoJo,
Danner,
Briggs Danner, Kyle Reinhardt, and forgive me for not knowing the modified guy, track champion.
Yeah, so Kyle Reinhardt's going to be first. We're going to talk to him for a few minutes, probably 15 minutes with each driver, sit down and have a chat. So it'll be Kyle Reinhardt, Briggs Danner, and a modified driver of choice, Watson, I believe, JoJo Watson.
That's right.
So we'll get to chat with them, get to know them a little bit, and check out all the Bridgeport T2T socials for that. That should be live.
It's going to be live 1:30, I believe, right?
Yep, 1:30 Eastern Standard Time, Bridgeport Standard Time. We'll be there, and then kind of cover the event the rest of the evening and see who takes home the $15,000 prize for the 410 sprint cars.
Who's your pick, Jeremy?
Man, I don't know. I don't know who's going to be there. This is a weird time for this because I don't know who's going to be there. If Justin Peck's back in town, he's a favorite. He was on the West Coast last week. I think, if Brent's around, you got to think he's a favorite. Anthony showed speed right back in that 39 car. He's good at Bridgeport. I don't know. Kyle Reinhardt, honestly, he's from New Jersey originally, I believe. He loves Bridgeport. He's had great success at Bridgeport. When the last race was at Bridgeport, was it a high limit?
Yes.
I said, watch out for Kyle Reinhardt. Where'd he finish? Anybody remember?
Second.
He is good at Bridgeport. I'm telling you, he loves it. He's aggressive. They have that car hooked up at Bridgeport. He's a guy to watch out for. And honestly, he had a good run at BAPS. All things considered, he got the damage there and hung on the best he could. But he was a challenger at BAPS. He's going to be good at Bridgeport. He's a guy to watch out for.
Sure, Brett. You have any guesses? I think Briggs Tanner's going to win, though. He's going to win something.
Alex Bright's back, but I don't know. I mean, Bridgeport, it seems like there's lots of guys who are quicker than USAC East Coast. Like Bobby Butler, he almost won that race last year and then put her in the fence, but he led that thing till the end. I mean, there's lots of guys, like Joey Amantia even runs really good there. There's guys that just run hard.
So do you think Joey's going to run double duty?
I believe he is, because I remember him saying something about first double duty, and it's like 2 different cars. So it's going to be – I remember him saying it's going to be a challenge for him wing to wingless.
Did I see Briggs is running all 3 divisions? Is that true? I thought I saw something crazy like that.
Running the new sprint. Isn't that the 3rd division, the crate sprints?
I thought it was modifieds.
If it's modified, I could see that.
I thought I saw it somewhere today. I could be wrong, but that'd be crazy. That'd be interesting, at least. Yeah. So that show 1:30 Saturday. You will not see me. You'll see Jeremy and Jimmy's shining faces with Alex Robinson. And then we'll be back next week, 8 o'clock, back live. Let us know in the comments, anything like that. You guys have any closing thoughts? Anything?
Just want to thank you for helping out at BAPS. It was a really fun week and hanging out with you and some other friends and stuff, and just a fun time to be back.
Yeah, I hope to do it again. Maybe we can do it again next year. And if you do race this week, you might be going to Path Valley. You might be going to Ohio with your dad. Either way, I hope you wish you good luck there. And
yeah, we're still 50-50 on which one we're going to.
At what point do you flip a quarter and just be like, all right?
I'm trying to convince to go to Path Valley because I haven't won this year, and that's like I can't get. Yeah, he's won 6 this year.
Very good. Well, let us know. We'll share it, and we'll be cheering for you.
Okay, thank you.
Jeremy, anything else?
No, thank you, Brett. Appreciate you coming on, man. We'll see you. We'll see you when we see you, man. Might be a long winter. We're gonna have to have you on the show and talk about next year and see what you've been doing over the winter. So appreciate you coming on here, and always appreciate your friendship, dude, and seeing you at the racetrack.
Yeah, thank you. Shoot, it started snowing up here weeks ago.
Of course it did. All right. Thanks to Jeremy's Arfos Photography and Key Motorsport for sponsoring us a little bit, and everyone else. We'll see you next week.